College football on Riverside TV. We're here at Ramona High School for the season opener for Riverside City College as they take on Mount San Jacinto. Ghazal Hassan back with you, along with Ramona High School alum Jeff Gorham. And Jeff, the Tigers last year, despite 2 COVID pauses, despite a bevy of injuries, despite a couple of early season losses, still managed to make it to the state championship game. Tom Kraft thinks this team could be even better here in 2022.
Well, I'll tell you what, after watching those quick losses early in the year, we saw an improvement like you wouldn't believe, but I think the improvement is even going to be greater this year with the addition of the other Retzlaff brother. They're going to have a receiver-quarterback combination. Remember, last year, Mr. Retzlaff beat RCC when he was playing for Golden West. Now he is with the Tigers this season.
As far as the opponent, the Eagles of Mount San Jacinto, they too won a conference championship last year, Jeff, but they didn't get a chance to play RCC. The game was canceled due to COVID protocol, and you know, with the success RCC has had, the little crosstown rivalry with Mount San Jacinto, the Eagles really want a shot at the Tigers. They'll get it tonight.
And one of the longest rivalries in JC California history, and I'll tell you what, they want to be at the same level as RCC. They want to get to that state championship, to that national level, and the only way they can do so is by beating the Tigers here at Ramona High School.
Junior college football coming up next on Riverside TV. It's the Eagles and the Tigers.
Well, welcome back. Ramona High School in the city of Riverside. Ghazal Hassan with you, along with Jeff Gorham, Ramona High School alum. Third member of our broadcast team is down along the sidelines. That's Nick Rice. We'll hear from him later in the evening. So kickoff will be from Mount San Jacinto. Back to receive for RCC. 2 brothers, Norian and Norbert Espadron. They're both they're both their first year with the team, both out of Etiwanda High School.
Are you saying they're brothers? Is that what you said?
They're brothers. And teeing it up is Zachary Zella. Excuse me, that's incorrect. Teeing it up is Quentin Evans for Mount San Jacinto. Evans, the freshman out of Temescal Canyon in Lake Elsinore. Actually, no, different kicker. Nathaniel Peterson, he's out of Great Oak in Temecula. So Peterson to kick to the Espadron brothers. Number 8 is Norian and number 9, Norbert. Fancy orange kits for the Tigers to kick off. We're underway here in 2022. Peterson booms it. Taking it is Norian Espadron. Nice block out about the 25-yard line. And down he goes at the 30. Tackle on the play made by Jevin Dorsey for Mount San Jacinto. And that's where RCC tees it up. You mentioned it in the open, Jeff. New man at the controls for RCC, Jake Retzlaff. Retzlaff is a sophomore out of Centennial High in Corona, played for Matt Logan, but spent last year at Golden West College, where he racked up 3,300 yards passing and 23 touchdowns, and then for good measure ran for nearly 400 yards and 9 touchdowns.
And literally single-handedly beat the Tigers last year in that early season game. He was dominant in that performance.
His brother is in the near slot. For the Tigers in those green uniform, the orange uniforms. Throws and it's complete. And all the way up to the 40-yard line for Mount San Jacinto after the catch, Rashawn Lacey. Remember, he was on the team last year, had a couple of slowed down a little bit with injuries, but already a big gain up to the 40-yard line.
like the first pass of the year for a big gain here. Definitely Tom Craft football.
35-yard completion up to the 35-yard line of Mount. Yeah, I thought it was the 40. They put it on the 35. It should be the 40-yard line. Let's call it the 41. So it'll be a 29-yard pickup. Play action. Fling to the outside. Nice catch and run. Another first down by the 30-yard line. Reception by Wyatt McClure. McClure, this tight end out of Marina High School in Huntington Beach. And Tom Craft likes him a lot. Big, strong kid. He can block really well. As you can see there, has pretty good hands. About a 9-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 1.
It's always nice when they use the tight ends. Coach Craft has shown over the years he uses them as a quick receiver. And we just saw there, what a great play from the 6'3", 245-pounder.
Here's the give. Not much there. Lose a yard. Carrying the ball for RCC, Elijah Agurji, making the tackle on the play for Mount San Jacinto. Andrew Arroyo makes the stop. Arroyo, the freshman from Vista del Lago. So 3rd and 2 coming up.
Yeah, a lot of local products on this Riverside City College team this year.
On both teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see. Yeah, a lot of local superstars on both ends.
3rd down play, he'll sling it a little bit low. Lacey was the intended target, incomplete on coverage for Mount San Jacinto. Nasir Morrow out of Heritage High School in your neck of the woods, Jeff, from Menifee.
I love it. Gotta love those guys. Probably played for Coach Broach before he left to go over to Liberty High School, but one of the better high school football programs we've seen here in the Inland Empire for probably the last decade.
So here we go. From the 33, a 4th down. Tom Craft leaving the offense out on the field. Quick throw, incomplete. Intended target was Norian Espadron, and the ball over on downs to Mount San Jacinto. So the defense for the Eagles turns away the Tigers on the first series. Jeff Gorham.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, you've got to be happy if you're San Jacinto. They gave up that first big play and then continued to just stop the Tigers. You know, not great passing from Retzloff, but I have to account for that is the defensive effort by San Jacinto here.
So ball goes over to the Eagles, and they're led out by their quarterback, Robert Coleman. Coleman, the sophomore, out of Vista Murrieta. From the 33-yard line, he'll keep it himself and runs right into Gage Summers. Surprise, surprise. Summers with the tackle for RCC. 2nd down coming up. Maybe a yard on the play for Coleman.
You're talking about Summers. Summers ranked 2nd on the team last year with 49 tackles. He had 1 sack for a loss of 10 yards. He also recorded a season-high 12 tackles in the championship game.
Coleman last year completed 66% of his passes. As we get a flag on the play, they'll move it back. So back to the 23-yard line for Mount San Jacinto. So a holding call moves it back. It'll still be 1st down, but now they'll need to go 20 yards. Getting back to Robert Coleman. Split time at quarterback, threw for nearly 1,500 yards, just 17 touchdowns against just 3 interceptions. Also, as you saw on that play, a pretty good runner. Here's the play action. He'll fling it out complete to about the 20-yard line, and breaking the first tackle, he'll go down at the 40-yard line. He'll be awfully close to a 1st down. That's Jevin Dorsey with the reception. Dorsey, the sophomore from Rancho Mirage, up to the 40-yard line, a 17-yard pickup, and 2nd and 3.
Yeah, great start. I mean, he just threw it in the flat, and there was 3 Tigers there, but the receiver was able to run behind the 1 block and split the 2 defenders for a nice gain there.
Here we go, 2nd down. Going to the top of your screen, Matthew Hicks to split out. Man in motion is Talik Brown. He was a big player for the Eagles last year. Looking for that circle pass. Now they got a man deep. That's Brown, and Brown's going to haul it in over the shoulder inside the 40 to the 35-yard line. Nice throw, just dropped it in over the shoulder. 25-yard completion. Coleman to Brown, and the Eagles move the sticks. This Eagles offense last year, Jeff, was prolific They average nearly 48 points a game and over 500 yards, including 300 through the air. Their other quarterback, Devin Friedland, he's a Heritage kid. He's now playing at Bluefield State in West Virginia. Matter of fact, he started on Thursday, and his team won 35-34. Coleman under pressure. There's Salahuddin, but he throws it away. The initial pressure came off the edge from Lehigh Facia. So Facia applying the pressure and then kind of flushed him to the sideline, and that's where Salahuddin was bearing down on him. Incomplete. Second down coming up. When we talk about RCC, Jeff, we often talk about the prolific offense, and deservedly so. I mean, Tom Kraft is such a master, but, James Cook can coach a little bit, too, the defensive coordinator for the Tigers.
And that secondary Riverside has been so quick and so fast. They've been hard to throw over or to. They've been so dynamic.
Here comes the pressure, incomplete, and a flag comes in on the play. Intended receiver was Jevin Dorsey. Wait to see what the ruling is. Still discussing it.
Yeah, it's going to go against the Tigers.
So it looks like the very Swedish Chef. We had the interference on the audio. If you're old enough to remember the Muppet Show, it sounded like the Swedish Chef there. But either way, it's a penalty. It gives a first down to Mount San Jacinto. They're to the 24-yard line of RCC. So here's Coleman, trips to the near side. Tailback is Theodore Parrish. He'll get the football right up the middle, bounces off a hit, still driving inside the 20, and down he goes. Instead, that's Jalen McGee. McGee out of Lakeside, where he played for James Seidler in the city of Lake Elsinore.
One of our great friends in the coaching world here in the Inland Empire.
So even though initial contact was early, McGee, kind of a battering ram, gets down inside the 20 for about a 4.5-yard gain. 2nd and 5 coming up. Clock continues to tick. And Mount San Jacinto, we mentioned, over 300 yards a game passing last year. They rushed for nearly 200 yards a game as well, 189.6.
So you're saying our score is going to be in the 70s?
Both teams can put it up. Robert Hazard to the top of your screen. In the far slot is Dorsey. They'll swing it out to that side of the field, but instead they'll go to the running back out of the backfield, complete, and a first down as he steps out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. The completion to Matthew Caldera. Caldera, the freshman from Vista Murrieta.
And what a great run here. That's just mental toughness, and that extra effort right there at the end gets him about 4 extra yards. You got to make contact.
So he stepped out inside the 11. It will be a first down, and Mount San Jacinto, they can get a first down inside the 1-yard line. They can still get another one if they choose to. Hazard to the bottom of your screen. Here's the give to McGee. McGee high-stepping it, but he gets pulled down from around the ankles. Making the tackle, Miles Martin for RCC. Martin out of Vista Murrieta, the sophomore defensive back, stops McGee at the 5-yard line, 2nd down.
Yeah, great play and the misdirection you saw there on the replay.
So nice job by Mount San Jacinto. They stopped RCC on a 4th down play, and they've driven down the field now to the 5-yard line. So joining McGee in the backfield is Caldera. Coleman going to keep it, and he'll be tripped up. Couple of guys getting there for RCC on the hit. Jesse Bradbury was there, as was Quinn Sullivan. Sullivan, the sophomore from Bellevue, Washington, out of the IMG Academy. Bradbury out of Summit, played for our friend Nick Matheny. That faux high legacy stopped for a loss. So 3rd down coming up. Going to the top of the screen, Matthew Hick splitting out. In the far slot is Emilio Valenzuela. McGee, the lone man in the backfield. Third down play. Coleman rolling, throwing, touchdown. Jevin Dorsey in the end zone finds pay dirt for Mount San Jacinto. It's 6-0 Eagles.
Wow, meticulous drive here coming down and just finding the open man on your progression. Great play and from the quarterback.
On for the PAT is Nathaniel Peterson. Peterson from Great Oak in Temecula parks the upright 7-0 in favor of Mount San Jacinto. So the Eagles go up, get another look at that touchdown.
I mean, he is just wide open. Yeah, that secondary is having, that's a new secondary, though. Coach Kraft talked a little bit about that. He said that would be one of the questions. They have a lot of guys coming back.
Well, talent's there. They need to find some consistency at corner. He mentioned that to me. Obviously the two guys who are back on the defense for RCC are the safeties, Jalen Carter and DeMarco Mora. But on the outside, it's an open competition for Riverside City College. Nice job executing there by Mount San Jacinto. They go up 7-0, 8:57 on the first quarter. 5-yard touchdown pass from Coleman to Jevin Dorsey. So Norbert and Norian Espadron both back to receive. And Coach Kraft very complimentary about both of them. They're both kind of slot guys, likes them in the return game. Peterson puts his foot into it. Touchback. So I guess, Jeff, we need to address before the Tigers go on offense, playing at Ramona City College. I know most people probably have read about it or heard about it. Obviously, Wheelock Stadium in need of renovation. They're installing new turf at Wheelock. So for this season, the Tigers will call Ramona High School home.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if you're Coach Kraft, it makes it extra tough. You got to be really focused because you're going to play all road games essentially. And there are plans that have started that were approved by RCC. $7.7 million in renovations will go towards that new turf next season.
Ugorji, the lone tailback, split out to the near side. Retzlaff in the near slot. Espadron looking for his brother. Complete to the incomplete. No, he did catch it. So up to the 46-yard line, 21-yard pickup from Jake to Reggie. And it's interesting because with the injury last year, Reggie gets another year at RCC, and I think that may have played into the fact that his younger brother Jake decided to transfer from Golden West, where he had a great year last year, Jeff, to RCC from the 46, first and 10. Here's the dump off to Agorgi. Agorgi dancing, little fancy footwork in midfield, surges forward and goes down inside the 40-yard line. The tackle by Karsten Mamarol, the freshman out of Chaparral for Mount San Jacinto. So a 14-yard pickup to the 40 of the Eagles for the Tigers, who trail 7-0.
Yeah, Ugorji, one of those great track runners at Rancho Verde, as well as a studly football player.
And he's cut down and then making the play there. The Defensive Player of the Year from 2019, Stephen Bradshaw, the sophomore linebacker out of Paloma Valley, missed last season. Obviously missed 2020 because they didn't play. He makes the tackle there, bringing up second down, and it looks like a Tiger is shaken up on the field. That looks like Elijah Ugorji. Running back by committee, that's what Coach Kraft told me when I spoke to him this week. They're looking for someone to emerge. He gave me a couple of names. Ugorji wasn't one of them. He must have worked his way in practice to get the opportunity to start here against Mount San Jacinto.
I'll tell you what, he's already cramping. Do you think it might be because it's a little warm out here? It's 104 degrees at 6 p.m.
And, these guys were all out here about 3:30 or so, kind of, they're not familiar with the field. So they were on the field, kind of walking around, running the field. There were guys doing wind sprints from the 30 and 40-yard line just to get accustomed to running on this newly installed turf here at Ramona High School.
Yeah, brand new turf. Got nice, the nice logos. It used to have the big rain cross in the center of the field. Now they've gone with the traditional ram.
that Ram visage. And now you've worn the Ram mascot head, Jeff.
I have, and it was smelly and hot.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I mean, I would not think you'd wear it on a day like today.
No.
Nice to see Elijah Gorgie. He's getting off the field under his own power. You always like to see that. So new running back comes in for RCC. It'll be Bryce Strong. Strong is the freshman from Ontario, Colony High School. Retzlaff split out to the near side. Espadron in the far slot. Get you away, top of your screen. Play action. Looking downfield. He hauls it in. Making the catch, Reggie Retzlaff.
And there was a lot of contact on that. I'm surprised they didn't call the contact here as you see it. There's a lot of bumping, a lot of grabbing defensively, but Retzlaff able to get in there and sneak one out.
31-yard completion from brother to brother, Jake Retzlaff to Reggie Retzlaff. So looks like first and goal from the 10. Here's the give to Bryce Strong, kind of dancing, trying to find his footing, and then down he goes at about the 6-yard line. Making the tackle for Mount San Jacinto, Travis Halilo. He got help as well. The initial tackle was Isaac Gaines got there.
Isaac Gaines, a guy out of Norte Vista High School. Said hello to him before the game.
I'm sorry, it was Nathan Ortiz, not Gaines. I know you did say hello to him. Nathan Ortiz from San Jacinto.
I didn't say hello to him. I don't.
Sidearm delivery. Reggie Retzlaff into the end zone. Touchdown. Tigers 75-yard drive. Move the ball right down the field. And now they're a PAT away from tying it up. They put it on the board at 6:44 here in the first quarter. 6-yard TD pass from Jake Retzlaff to older brother Reggie Retzlaff.
I think we're going to be saying that a lot this year, Gazal.
And here's your favorite part of the game as Jacob Mariquin launches it over the uprights, and it ties the game at 7. I know you were a big fan of Ricardo Chavez last year. Hopefully Jacob Mariquin will make you just as big a fan of his this year.
All I know is that I had a Chavez tattoo put on my leg. I got a tattoo of Chavez's leg on my leg because that's how much of a fan I was of Mr. Chavez last year. He only went by one name. He's like Madonna, Prince, and Chavez.
Any chance? He came up to meet you, right?
He did. But
Yeah.
he came up after he got hurt. He came up into the booth and signed. I made him sign my arm like any big pop star would.
You can take a trip to Idaho to see him kick?
I will. I'm going to drive out there.
Jevin Dorsey and Talik Brown back deep to receive for Mount San Jacinto as RCC ties it up. 6:44 to play here in the first. Ghazal Hassan, Jeff Gorham with you from Ramona High School in the city of Riverside. Season opener for both teams. A game that wasn't played last year because of COVID. We'll never know what would have happened. Mariquin lining it up. Mariquin, the sophomore from Santiago.
Yeah.
Played for Scott Morrison for the Sharks. Mariquin booms it. Fielded by Brown at the 4. Maneuvering up, trying to get to the sideline, turns the corner. Now he cuts back inside, breaks a tackle. Brought down inside the 40-yard line, making the tackle for RCC, Johnny Allo. Allo, the freshman from Salt Lake City West High School in Utah. And a long return. They'll mark it at the 36-yard line. So it's a 60-yard return.
Boy, Brown has been phenomenal. Catching the ball, running it back. He has been all over the field so far.
Last year, averaged 13.5 yards a catch, had 7 touchdowns, and exciting in the return game for the Eagles as well. Soar Eagle, as they say. That's the hashtag for Mount San Jacinto football. Trips to the top of your screen. Coleman stepping up, and he's going to go down. He got some help from Alex Navarro Silva. Also in there with his nose around the football, Sivea Logoleo. Logoleo from St. John Bosco. And Navarro Silva out of Don Lugo.
But you watch, I mean, just the quickness and strength, they just collapse on that line.
The loss back to the 46-yard line, so 10 yards. It'll be 2nd and 10 coming up. Coleman on 2nd down. More pressure. He flings it incomplete. Robert Hazard, the intended receiver, on the coverage for RCC. Norian Espadron. No, not Norian, because it's Talib Salahuddin, looks like, was out in coverage.
Was there a flag on the play? I didn't think there was a flag. Yeah, no penalty, I believe, on the play. I think we're good.
So incomplete will bring up 3rd down and 19. So from the 46, a big 3rd down situation. Last year, Mount San Jacinto was about 48% on 3rd down. Top of the screen, David Vandenberg, the tight end, splits out, and a timeout, Mount San Jacinto. So Casey Mazzotta calls the timeout in his 15th year at the helm. Last year, they won their first conference championship since 1999. In fact, they won the Sportsman Club America Conference Bowl by a score of 17-6. And the Eagles have been pretty good over the last 3 seasons. They're 24-8, have gone to a couple of postseason bowl games. But the conference championship last year, Jeff, their first since 1999.
Wow. You think of the talent pool that's out there in the San Jacinto area. You have Hemet, you've got the Menifee schools, you have the Temecula region. I mean, there's a lot of guys to pull from out there. And they have a brand new stadium that's being built in Menifee, so next season they will play all of their home games at the new Menifee campus.
Oh, there's a Menifee campus now at Mount San Jacinto?
There is, and it will be, the football stadium is for the most part done. I believe next year they will have their first home games at the new stadium.
Have to go check that out. It's right by your place.
Right by the house.
3rd and 19. Coleman delivering. Complete to Talik Brown. But down he goes. Tackle on the play made by Kenton Allen. Allen, sophomore out of Silverado in Vegas. 4th down.
And you got to like Riverside really adjusted well. They were getting the ball out in the flat, San Jacinto was, and they were able to beat those outside linebackers. They have moved outside even further to push them inside, and they've really kind of stopped that pass in the flat.
Lucas Fromo on to kick. He's a freshman out of Servite. The Espadrones back along with Kenton Allen. Here's the kick. And it'll go into the end zone. So a good kick there, a 54-yard kick. It'll come out, and RCC will get a chance. Their third drive here in the first quarter, Jeff.
Yeah, they started off that first drive, had a great play to start the game, but subsequently were stopped by San Jacinto, but they were firing on all cylinders here in the second series with Retzlaff to Retzlaff.
You pointed it out, Jeff, good adjustments on defense by RCC, and I always, having covered RCC now the last 4 or 5 years, I always marvel at the job James Cook does. He's the defense coordinator for RCC. He is so good at in-game adjustments, Jeff.
Yeah, and the thing is, he has a different, the JC is a different animal than a four-year college because you have new guys every year, and they do make adjustments to their defense based on their personnel, and that's the kind of coach anybody would want to play for.
1st and 20. Here's Retzlaff under pressure, in and out of the hands of Espadron, and he is popped. Nice hit on the play. Joseph Rapola, he's one of the defensive captains for Mount San Jacinto. Rapola making the play. the defensive lineman out of Temecula Rancho Christian. 2nd down and 10 coming up. Let's go down to Nick Rice on the field.
Well, guys, it is hot down here on the field. Last check, 115 degrees.
2nd
We
down
can tack
play
on
over
that
the middle.
heat, along with these.
Right in the hands of Jordan Williams. He couldn't reel it in, the freshman out of Etowanda. All right, go ahead, Nick.
This field, that creates some intriguing conditions for these players, and it's a tough adjustment for both schools, but it seems as though they've started to feel a little more comfortable with this field conditions. We'll see how they play. Guys, back to you.
I mean, it's going to be something all year for RCC. They're going to need to get adjusted to the turf and just playing in a new venue.
New venue, and most of the games will be at 12 noon. Couldn't obviously play today with 110-degree weather.
3rd down and the completion at the 45-yard line. Reeling it in for RCC, Rashawn Lacey, and he's spun down by DeMond Young. Young, one of the defensive leaders, defensive captains for Mount San Jacinto, but great catch, 26-yard completion, 1st and 10, Sticks move up. Retzlaff rolling, directing traffic, delivers again to Lacey. Finds him at about the 45-yard line, a 9-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and short. So Lacey in the far slot, top of your screen, split out Jawan Tucker. Reggie Retzlaff to the bottom of your screen. Play action. Retzlaff looking deep, looking for his brother. Jake to Reggie. Sliding catch down inside the 5-yard line. Man coverage with Karsten Mommerl. So flag on the play. It's a 42-yard completion, but the officials need to sort it out.
Look at that replay. Just throws it right over the top. It's like playing at home.
You think they drew that up in the backyard a few times?
You got to go, like he draw it. I'm going to go a button hook and then go deep.
So call it a 42-yard completion down to the 3-yard line. 1st and goal, RCC.
So Retzlaff already with 146 yards with 3:50 to go here in the first quarter.
Be remiss if we didn't talk about the big boys up front, the offensive line doing the job for RCC. Here's Retzlaff on 1st and goal, and it's intercepted in the back of the end zone. Picked off by Mommerl. He's going to bring it out, still on his feet till about the 25-yard line, and he's tackled there. And a turnover by RCC.
And watching Retzlaff on that play there, I'm not too sure who he was throwing. There wasn't a receiver anywhere in the area, as you see here on the replay. He throws it directly. I mean, there isn't a Tiger anywhere nearby. I don't know if he was trying to get it out of the back of the end zone.
You know, he might have seen, you see the orange out of the back of the corner of your eye. Thought maybe somebody was cutting. Yeah. Somebody was cutting in and somebody cut out. You never know. I mean, he's so dead accurate.
Man, yeah, exactly. Very uncharacteristic.
So the turnover, RCC knocking on the door, and Mount San Jacinto turns them away. And now the Eagles will have it. Can they capitalize? Here's the little dump off, and the tackle made at the 30-yard line. Reception made by Jevin Dorsey. Tackle on the play for RCC, Quinn Sullivan in on it. So short gain, pick up to the 29-yard line. Clock continues to move, and well, they've stopped the clock here. Curious as to why. They'll wind the clock. Demetrius Simpson to the bottom of your screen. Play action. Throw the other way. Complete to the 36 and then brought down at the 38-yard line. Making the reception, Emilio Valencia. The tackle on the play for RCC made by Peterson Lewis. A third down and short coming up.
Oh, they gave him the first.
Oh, they're saying the first. Maybe it's up at the 38-yard line. So yeah, it would be first down. Sorry, I was thinking 28. They're up to the 38. Good pitch and catch there. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. McGee into Summers, goes through Summers, breaks a tackle, and finally brought down over the 40-yard line. A bevy of tacklers there for RCC. The man with the impact was Arturo Orozco. Orozco, the 6'1 sophomore out of San Dimas. And we all know what to say about San Dimas High School football, right, Jeff?
Which is?
San Dimas High School football rules.
Oh, that's right. That's from Bill and Ted, right? I was thinking of the water park. Remember, I got little kids all the time.
You do. Indeed you do. 2nd and 5 from the 43.
San Dimas High rules.
Coleman to the outside, knocked away. Intended receiver on the play was Taylor Tosches, and making the play and knocking it down, Peterson Lewis for RCC. Tosches, one of the top receivers last year, Jeff, for Mount San Jacinto, had 17 receptions, averaged nearly 24 yards per catch for the Eagles.
Oh, that's a pretty good clip. You can say, hey, I'm getting a first down every time I catch the ball, basically.
Every time you catch the ball, you cover a quarter of the field. That's big.
Just give him the ball every time.
3rd and 5. Big play coming up. Can RCC get off the field here defensively, lining up the blitz? And now here comes some pressure coming through, and he gets rid of it. Bearing down on the quarterback, Coleman, was Kyle Jordan. Jordan, the sophomore from Wilton in Connecticut. So 4th down. It was just a question of numbers, and not Wilton, he's from Wilton. Jordan able to break through. 6'4", 240-pound defensive end, bringing some heat, and the punt team on for Mount San Jacinto. So Alfred Jordan, the sophomore from Arizona, back with the Espadron brothers. Ball bounce at the 12. He'll scoop it up, and he bobbles it at the 6, and then he's knocked out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. So coming down and making the play was James Siaker out of Redlands East Valley, the freshman linebacker.
But another great punt. Getting inside about the 3-yard line there.
So the drive will start from the 11. So the defense able to play around the turnover. That's a big play. Big sequence for the RCC defense. The Tigers turn it over right on the doorstep. That hurts.
That really has got to be tough.
But that's what happens on a good team. Offense makes a mistake, the defense picks them up. Defense makes a mistake, offense picks them up. That's how it's supposed to work. Bryce Young in the backfield. Reggie Retzlaff split out to the bottom of your screen. The give to Young. He'll squeeze up and be up to about the 13-yard line. Running behind big Brody Shoffley. Shalefi out of Vancouver, Washington. Prairie View High School product. He's a big boy, sophomore, 6'5", 330. Tom Kraft was talking highly about him before the season. So call it a 3-yard gain from the 14. Little swing pass out to Reggie Retzlaff, and he's wrestled down at the 25-yard line. Making the tackle for Mount San Jacinto, Nathan Ortiz. Ortiz, the sophomore from San Jacinto High School.
You look at all the arm angles that Retzlaff throws. It's very, he throws sidearm. He does whatever he can to get the play off.
So 1st and 10 from the 26, as we'll tick down to the end of the first quarter. Here's the completion to Espadron. You're bumping him out of bounds for Mount San Jacinto. Marcus Brooks there, the freshman defensive back from Murrieta Valley. So 2nd down about to come up. Coming down to the end of the first quarter, tied at 7. Season opener for both teams, RCC and Mount San Jacinto. Will the Tigers get the play off before the end of the quarter? give to Young. Young bumps to the left side and then ridden down defensively by Jehi Osuna. Osuna, the freshman from West Valley High School in Hemet. And that's the end of the first quarter. Third down coming up. We'll flip sides of the field. 7-7 after 15 minutes. What'd you think, Jeff Gorham?
It was definitely a first game. I mean, there was a couple mistakes by both teams, but I'll tell you what, if you're at Riverside, you got to be happy. I mean, they've been able to march down the field twice. Didn't score in the last drive, but defense picked it up a little bit, and both teams kind of filling each other out. And so far, a pretty darn good game. Pretty solid on both ends.
Got any numbers worth talking about from the first quarter?
Well, our stats have not been up. They've been not updated. So.
Oh, okay. Well, don't worry about them then.
But what we do need to talk about is the Tamale Festival.
Okay.
I can't wait for the Tamale Festival. It's going to be at White Park. It will be in I believe the 17th, and it will be from. There it is, the Tamale Festival, September 10th. I'm sorry, from 11 to 7 at White Park in downtown Riverside. If you like to enjoy some great music, fun, and frivolity, come on down to the Riverside Tamale Fest. Visit rivtamalefest.com for all the information. Once again, September 10th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come on down and enjoy some tamales.
We got RCC in Long Beach next Saturday at noon, but you can come to the game and then head to downtown Riverside after the game.
I think you and I should go down there. You and I can do some dancing. We can drink some lovely beverages. I'm sure they have horchata. Have you ever had horchata?
Love horchata. Third down and 1. This is Jake Retzlaff. He'll just run behind the big boys up front. Leading the surge for RCC, Big Ed Riley, the sophomore out of St. John Bosco.
Do you have a favorite tamale? I like pork tamales.
So false start. We'll move it back. So goes from a 3rd and 1 to a 3rd and 6. Devin Gitchaway split out to the near side of your screen. To the top of your screen is Reggie Retzlaff. In the slot on the far side is Norbert Espadron. In the slot on the near side is Alfred Jordan. So 2-by-2 for RCC. 3rd and 6. Play action. Here comes pressure. What an easy throwing motion in and out of the hands of Gitchaway. Making the play defensively for Mount San Jacinto. Marcus Brooks there, the freshman from Murrieta Valley, and a punt coming up for RCC.
That's just great defense. Honestly, it was. You watched the play on the replay. I think he wanted some contact, but it was just great defense from Brooks here.
Yeah, waited till the ball got there and then wrapped him up. So Matthew Caldera, the freshman from Vista Murrieta, back to receive the punt. On to punt from RCC, Jared Campbell. He's got a big leg. Scoops it up, and he gets contact. Gets it away. A flag comes in. So a short kick, but let's sort out the flag.
There are penalties all over the field.
They're both, well, 2 of the flags are right next to the kicker, and it looks like it's going to go. Well, now they're calling a personal foul on RCC.
Yeah. I think these are going to be offsetting penalties.
So, one flag, there were 2 flags sitting right next to Campbell when he went down, and another flag came in from the backside.
Let's see if they're going to pick up. I think they're probably going to pick this one up because I think the penalty was first.
So it was. That was so they pointed towards RCC, but the foul was on Mount San Jacinto. They'll move the ball up to the 45-yard line, and the offense back out for Tom Kraft and the Tigers here. 14:32 to play second quarter. We're tied at 7.
Both teams playing pretty much the same. They both have 7 first downs. Passing yards, though, Riverside 205 yards in that first quarter to 66 for San Jacinto.
Retzlaff to the top of your screen. Lacey in the far slot. Jake Retzlaff lines it up, and brother Reggie catching it in stride. 30-20 out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Finally forcing him out at the end of the play was Isaiah Harwood pushing him out.
But a smart run. If you see Retzlaff catch, when he catches the ball, he doesn't stop or cut. He just runs diagonally through the play. A smart way to run the field. You don't need to cut or just try to get extra yards, and a great, great set there from the wide receiver.
40-yard completion from Retzlaff to Retzlaff. First down and 10 RCC from the 15. Sidearm. Slings it to Tucker. J.J. Tucker into the end zone. Touchdown. So run after catch by Jawan Tucker. Latches on to the Jake Retzlaff pass. He's into the end zone. The sophomore from Narbonne. And back on top is RCC 13-7.
And a great little screen pass as we see here on the replay, I'm sure. Now Riverside's starting to kind of get going. You can see that offense, the confidence of those guys on the sideline.
Marquin pumps it through, and it's 14-7 in favor of RCC. So second quarter, and it's 14-7.
Retzlaff already with 260 yards at 13 of 19. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. His brother, he's only averaging 19.7 yards per catch. Pretty darn good catch. Three receptions.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother.
That's like Fast Johnny and Luke.
I'm sorry, let's go. He has 6 receptions for 153 yards.
Wow. It's pretty good numbers if you can get them. Jevin Dorsey back along with Talik Brown.
He's averaging 25.5 yards per catch.
American to kick off. Puts his foot into it and it'll come out. Mount San Jacinto back out on the field. I mentioned they were 9-2 last year, Jeff, but only one of those actual losses came on the field. Obviously, the game against RCC was ruled a forfeit because of COVID protocol. They lost 28-26 against Pasadena City College on November 6th. Came down to a 2-point conversion.
Ouch. We've seen those a few times over the years here on Riverside TV. What a way to lose, though. Man, very tough.
So ball out to the 25-yard line. Robert Coleman at the controls. He'll fling it out to the near side and maybe a yard on the play. Completion to Jevin Dorsey. Coming in over the top defensively for RCC. Lovewin Don Willies, the sophomore out of Narbonne. So call it a 3-yard gain up to the 23-yard line. Second and 7. Whistles will stop the play.
You know, I was driving in today, Gazal, and I was listening to the USC Rice game, and driving in, I heard a familiar name. Dean Connors, the running back last year here for RCC, was the running back for Rice out of Marietta Valley. Great running back. Rushed for 516 yards on 107 carries last year for RCC.
Had a good year for Tom Kraft.
He was a Southwestern League MVP last year.
Complete to McGee, 25-30. McGee's in the open field. There he goes, picking him up and putting him down. Can they stop him? He'll get stopped at about the 20-yard line. Coming in and upending him was Don Willies again. Love when Don Willies was the first man there, but flipping the field is Jalen McGee, and we've seen him do that before for Lakeside, Jeff Gorham.
I'll tell you what, this is a prize fight. These two quarterbacks are throwing haymakers and making big, big plays.
67-yard play for Jalen McGee. Flips the field. Ball at the 16-yard line for the Eagles. 1st and 10, Mount San Jacinto. Had the circle route open. Now he's going to go downfield, incomplete. Intended receiver was Jevin Dorsey. On the coverage, Keithan Gooden for RCC. 2nd down coming up.
Yeah, he went for the home run ball there. Like you said, off the circle route might have been wide open, might have got in anyways.
He had Caldera on the circle route, but I think he thought there was a defender bearing down. Instead, he went for the one-on-one coverage in the corner of the end zone. Incomplete, 2nd down. Valencia to the top of the screen. In the far slot is Talik Brown. We need to watch him. Caldera out of the backfield. Looking for Jalen McGee, wide open. Did he get it? He did. Touchdown. Electric play by Jalen McGee, and he gets rewarded with a touchdown pass from Coleman.
Boy, they are peppering the outside of this field. They haven't gone up the middle at all because it's been wide open so far. For San Jacinto, they've been able to get outside and wide open. I mean, there hasn't been anybody near some of these receivers. Great play calling here by Mount San Jacinto.
Kick is up, and it's good. PAT good from Nathaniel Peterson. You know, Jeff, I don't often talk about myself, but I'll tell you, when I was 17, I had a very good year.
Was it a very good year?
A very good year because I had a fake ID. My name was Jalen McGee. Well, how about McGee? You know, the Lakeside kid has the big play to get them into the red zone, and then on the 2nd down play, Coleman finds McGee in the corner of the end zone. What an electric player he is. We saw him in high school at Lakeside, and great to see him having success here for Mount San Jacinto.
Not only success, but how much he's changed. The body has changed. He's more mature. He's a grown man now, for gosh sakes. We saw him as a kid. He's doing great.
Well, he was still a tough customer. You know, he wanted that. He was one of those running backs in high school that ran to contact.
Yes, he was angry. He ran angry.
Peterson teeing it up. It's tied at 14 between RCC and Mount San Jacinto. The Espadron brothers back deep. Bringing it back. This is Norian dancing at the 20, trying to get outside. He's still on his feet. Squirts back inside. And then finally taken down. Tackle on the play made by Demond Young for Mount San Jacinto. But a nice bit of running for Norian Espadron. And they're up to the 34-yard line. That's where they'll tee it up.
All right, who's going to get the next big strike?
Well, if you're putting money, it's got to be Reggie Retzlaff, right? He's had a lot of big plays. So up front for RCC, we mentioned Brody Sheffley earlier. Ed Riley still in there. Tristan Hayes, Anthony LaFrance. To the outside, making the play. That's Jaquez Jones. Jones with a yard on the play. 2nd and 9 coming up. How about Ulysses Aberto on the offensive line? The sophomore out of Riverside Poly. He's a big boy. 6'3", 340, getting an opportunity. Retzlaff with the play fake. Gitchaway hauls it in. That's a nice catch right on that painted Ramona Ram-Visage at midfield. Tackle on the play for Mount San Jacinto made by Nathan Ortiz. So about a 15-yard completion. 1st and 10 from midfield. trips to the top of your screen. Jones, the lone setback. Jaquez Jones, right up the middle. Jones still driving his feet into Mount San Jacinto territory. Let's see where they mark it. About a 5 or 6 yard pickup there. Stephen Bradshaw in on that hit. Bradshaw, we mentioned, 2019 Conference Defensive Player of the Year, but didn't play in 20, obviously, because there was no season. Didn't play last year as well. He's back. Welcome addition back to Mount San Jacinto as they defend their conference championship. They gave him 6. Retzlaff back to throw. He'll fling it downfield. In stride is his brother Reggie, but double coverage down the field. One-on-one coverage with Demond Young, but coming over and rotating over to help out Karsten Mammerl.
So Riverside electing to go right down the middle here and been successful. San Jacinto going to the outside. Retzlaff just literally took 2 steps back and threw it, hoping his brother would be there.
Tom Kraft loves attacking the middle of the field.
He does.
He really does, because he has the athletes that can exploit it, traditionally. So timeout on the field. So RCC calls timeout here, 10:28 to play, second quarter, 14-14 tie, third down play coming up.
Hey, don't doubt the drought. Extreme drought conditions persist throughout the state of California, so saving water now is more important than ever to protect the water supplies into your future. Step up your water-saving game by irrigating between the hours of 6 p.m. and 10 a.m. to avoid losses to evaporation. Visit riversidepublicutilities.com/drought for more water-saving tips, tricks, and rebates. Yeah, I think if you poured water out anywhere, it would evaporate before it hit the ground.
I was talking earlier about Devin Friedland, who was one of the quarterbacks last year for Mount San Jacinto.
Yes.
Played for Bluefield State. We mentioned he started on Thursday night. It was the opener in D2 out there in West Virginia. He led his team to a 35-34 win, 173 passing yards, 93 rushing yards. The team rebooted the program last year after 40 years, so nice to see him get an opportunity to play. Sherrod White off of last year's roster of Mount San Jacinto. He's at New Mexico now. You already mentioned earlier that Dean Summers from last year's roster playing for Rice University. You know who I think should go to Rice University? Nick Rice.
He should. He could be the voice of the Rice Owls.
Go to Houston and get into the market, and people would think that he's related to the family. He could just use it kind of maybe to gain some advantage. By the way, it's his birthday tomorrow.
He's 21.
Is it, what did he say, 27? Yeah, he's going to be 27, he said.
Man, he's getting up there.
Retzlaff to throw. Complete, but it's going to be a short gain. Get away with the catch.
Oh, they gave him a first down. Good spot there.
Quinton Evans with the tackle for Mount San Jacinto, and they'll move the sticks up. So he gave about a 4-yard pickup on the play, and the sticks move. First and 10 RCC from the 40-yard line. Reggie Retzlaff to the top of your screen. Here comes the pressure. Here's the touch, trying to find Reggie, but running with him step for step for Mount San Jacinto, Karsten Mammerl.
And they've thrown two players at Reggie the last couple times he's gone down the middle. And there's 2 guys right there as well. One help, one man.
Nice adjustment. You know, we gave James Cook credit for RCC. Couple of nice adjustments on defense for Mount San Jacinto. Second down and 10. Here's the handoff. Jones driving and dancing down to the 35-yard line. Bradshaw getting up from the bottom of the pile for San Jacinto. Got some help from Tavita Halalilo. So from the 35, here's third down. Line to get is the 30. Retzlaff rolling right. Here comes pressure and he'll just ground it.
Yeah, you hear the coaches wanted grounding, but he got outside the
tackle box.
Yeah, he was fine there.
So 4th down, the offense will stay out there. We're talking about this yesterday. Lacey in the far slot, Retzlaff to the top of your screen. Split out to the bottom of the screen is Hunter. In the near slot is Jordan. Alfred Jordan for RCC. On a 4th and 5. The play clock was running down, and so the Tigers forced to take a timeout here. 9:14 to play in the first half. Their second timeout of the half. 4th and 5.
Well, let's talk about the latest news and events, programs, and citywide information. Connect with the City of Riverside on social media and sign up to receive emails straight to your inbox. I do that. Gazal does that. For a full listing of social media accounts and to sign up for the citywide newsletter, visit riversideca.gov/connect. Connect with us, riversideca.gov/connect. Hashtag I love Riverside.
But don't we all, Jeffrey?
I'm telling you what, I love it except for this heat today. I wish it was a little chillier.
A little bit of a heat wave.
Are we having a heat wave?
I'll tell you what, I've been impressed with the Eagles thus far coming out. You knew that RCC, they had a lot of firepower back, but the Eagles have been right there punching with them through about the first 21 minutes of this matchup. Big play coming up here, 4th and 5 for RCC. Retzlaff will fling it. Little Bro catches it, and he fumbles it away. Let's see who came on top of it. Diving in was Nasir Morrow for Mount San Jacinto, but first down as RCC keeps possession. About a 12-yard pickup on the play, and the Tigers continue to move. Ball to the 23-yard line.
There's the replay. Retzlaff lost it, but able to get right back on it quickly.
He must have about 10 catches by now.
Our stats are not updated. I think he's well over 200 yards receiving as well.
I think it's at least 8. And you got to give much credit to the big boys up front for RCC. They've been doing a great job with the protection. 1st and 10 from 23. Throwing for Tucker. It's a touchdown. Jawan J.J. Tucker hauls it in, and he breaks the tie 20-14 in favor of RCC.
I think everybody in the stadium knew exactly where it was going, and it was a perfect strike down that sideline. I think everybody knew it was a touchdown as soon as it left his hands.
Get out the way for J.J. Tucker. He may be late to get his supper, but he was right there on time for the touchdown reception. PAT coming up for Mariquin. It'll be 21-14. Third touchdown pass for Retzlaff. Flag on the play. Here's how it started. Watch the cut, the readjustment on the kickoff return. Retzlaff looking. Retzlaff completing. What a nice catch there at midfield. Another play. Now, this is the fumble that was recovered by Reggie Retzlaff. And he is the older brother, of course. And then Retzlaff again finding J.J. Tucker.
So Jake Retzlaff, 17 of 26 so far in the first half of 313 yards.
In the first half, wow, carving it up. And remember, they turned the ball over. They had the ball knocking on the door on the 3-yard line, and that's where he threw his pick. The defense managed to play around it. And, we talked about this a lot last night. When you're on the road in particular, you got to capitalize on those opportunities. And listen, easier said than done, but when a team gives you more opportunities, that's a rare occurrence, especially a team like RCC.
Yeah, and you think he's only thrown to his brother, but he's thrown to 7 different receivers
Yeah.
here in the first half.
Yeah, well, that's how Tom Kraft draws it up. If he could have an unlimited roster, he'd probably throw to 17 different guys. Dorsey's going to bring it out of the end zone. How about that? And he gets a little bit over the 20-yard line. Down he goes. Coming up, making the hit, Todd Shaw. He got some help on the play from Isaac Garcia. And that's where Mount Santa Cena will start it off.
Well, there's a penalty on the play here. Let's see what.
Well, somebody's helmet came off.
Yeah.
8:18 to play in the first half, 21-14. The officials chatting amongst themselves, trying to figure it out. So you heard the good man, our white hat. Half the distance to the goal means that Mount Santa Cena will start the drive at the 11-yard line. All right, so it was a personal foul on the Eagles. I'm being told we don't have the audio. So personal foul, half the distance. That's where Mount Santa Cena tees it up. Out of the backfield, McGee. And McGee tackled at about the 15-yard line. First man in on it was Lovewin Don Willies. And Tom Kraft talked about the cornerback position. A couple guys need to emerge. Doesn't feel they're particularly deep, so he's kind of going to give some of the young guys a shot.
And talking, he's 30 players down to where he's been in the past.
Normal,
Maybe you can explain that a little bit. I was a little confused on that, but if normally 130 players on that roster.
Complete. Up over the 20-yard line. Tackle on the play made by Peterson Lewis. Jevin Dorsey makes the reception and good enough for a first down. So the sticks move up. Well, what happened is there were COVID protocols in place in terms of admitting students, and there were some mandates that the county and the city had to abide by. Those all changed, but by the time it changed, it was too late. So probably if they lifted those mandates a month before, there were 30 to 40 players that probably would have come to RCC that ended up going elsewhere. That's according to what Coach Kraft told me. Nice play in the backfield. That's Gage Summers, and he cuts down Emilio Valencia. Loss back to about the 19-yard line, about a 4-yard loss.
Great defensive stop there. They were prepared, got outside there, and slipped right through the middle there.
Summers, a starter from last year, 49 tackles. And one of the leaders on the defense were James Cook and Tom Kraft. Call it 2nd and 14 from the 23. Complete to Dorsey. About the 26-yard line, he'll be tackled. Robert Waters got in there on the hit, along with Arturo Orozco for RCC. So up to the 29-yard line. First down to the 33, so they need 4 yards. Hazard to the bottom of your screen. In the near slot, Talik Brown. He's dangerous. Here's the pressure coming. Screen pass to McGee, and it's snuffed out by Summers. How about that? Gage Summers with the play on Jalen McGee. That's some grown man business right there.
That is weight room strength and meanness.
Because you ain't gonna bring down Jalen McGee by accident, let me tell you. 4th down. Connor Meltzer on to punt, the freshman out of Etiwanda. Meltzer puts his foot into it. Fair catch signaled. And catching it at about the 47-yard line. That's Norian Espadron. First down, RCC. Good field position. 5 minutes to play. Now remember, Mount San Jacinto won the toss and deferred. They'll get the ball to start the second half. So a score would be big here for RCC to go up 2 scores to end this first half.
Yeah, and San Jacinto will get the ball here in the second half to start. So it'd be nice if RCC could score again right before half.
We'll get our first look at Big Alan Rennie. Rennie, the freshman from Paraclete. He's a Palmdale kid. They won the Division VI title his freshman year over Los Altos back in 2016. Flinging it is Retzlaff, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Espadron. And 2nd and 10. So it looks like with the heat, some rotation going on up front for Tom Kraft. We get our first look at Mason Barba as well, the sophomore out of Long Beach, St. John Bosco. Here's the give to Jones. Jones dancing, little jitterbug at about the 45-yard line. Turns down the sideline, pushed out of bounds. They'll mark it inside the 40 at about the 37-yard line. So they'll move the sticks, about a 10-yard pickup by Jacques Jones. Nice little stutter step there to move outside, and then switches the ball and comes out of bounds. The man kind of squaring him up, standing him up, was DeMond Young. Young, the fine defensive back, sophomore out of Rancho Verde. So ball to the 37. Another turn and give. Jones driving over the 35. Down to about the 34-yard line. Take a look at that. Bradshaw kind of filling the gap. Got some help as well from Jehe Osuna. Delayed draw here. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Might have lost about half a yard on the play. 3rd down upcoming.
Kind of a slow play here. Not one of the finer ones we've seen tonight.
Retzlaff flings it. In and out of the hands of brother Reggie. On the coverage for Mount San Jacinto, Isaiah Haywood. Haywood, a well-traveled young fella, Jeff. Started off at D2 Minnesota Crookston, then a red shirt at Utah State. Went to Fullerton College, and then was actually at RCC for a spell. Found a home at Mount San Jacinto. 4th down coming up. Donovan Harvey, the freshman from Lake Elsinore. Elsinore in the backfield. I guess McGee doing so well. So Tom Kraft said, let me get my guy from Lake Elsinore in there. Played for Tony Peralta. Complete to the outside. Nice little spin move by Espadron. He's got some space, a 1st down and more. Shoved out of bounds inside the 10. Nasir Moro with the play. So give it a 26-yard completion and 1st and goal coming up for RCC.
Not 3rd down conversion. That's a 4th down conversion. What a great play there.
Gives him time, and he slings it to the outside. Watch this first move. Just breaks the tackle, and DeMond Young is no slouch. He's a pretty good defensive player, so a pretty superlative effort there for Norian Espadron. Jones now the lone setback. Here's Jacques, kind of sidling his way up, leans forward, and gets inside the 5-yard line. About a 5-yard gain on that play as the clock continues to move. They'll mark it to the 3, so give him 6. Retzlaff to Gitchaway, incomplete. on the coverage was Nathan Ortiz for Mount San Jacinto. Third down upcoming.
Let's see if this was catchable. Yeah, that was another good ball. So a couple drop balls on this possession here have cost Riverside possible points here.
So that's a third timeout taken by the Tigers here in the first half. They'll talk it over. You know, we're going to have a whole slew of RCC action, Jeff. You and me are going to be here for every game here at RCC. We got one next week against Long Beach.
That's always a big rivalry game between the Tigers and Long Beach.
I mean, that great national championship run in 2019, it was Long Beach that nearly knocked them off.
Right.
Remember, that was over at Wheelock. Then they play home against Canyons. We'll have that game on October 1st. And then we'll have two games in the conference schedule, Mount Sac on the 22nd and El Camino on the 29th. Those are two very good teams.
Yeah, very good teams. In fact, I think they play 6 teams that are ranked in the top 25 this season.
Get a look at the schedule up there. What was interesting is Tom Kraft, and he mentioned it a couple times. Dennis Pope did a nice piece in the Southern California News Group, and he said, you know, the teams in our conference in the playoffs were 6-1 last year. So that just goes to show you they won a conference where the teams in the two divisions went 6-1 in playoff games. So it's pretty impressive. And, you know, RCC always plays near the top of Southern California junior college football. You mentioned 2 straight state championships in a row. And obviously the success since Coach Kraft has been here, Jeff, has just been so impressive.
Yes, and this is really going to be this is the toughest schedule that RCC has had, and they're trying to make their 3rd straight state championship, but they're going to have to go through number 5 Canyons, number 6 Golden West, number 9 Mount San Antonio, El Camino, Cerritos, Long Beach, and Saddleback, all ranked in the top 25.
The throw, the little screenplay, and Tucker, they sniffed that one out. Demond Young wasn't fooled that time. Tucker made the catch, but it'll bring up 4th down. So 4th and goal, they'll trot out Jacob Marroquin. Field goal of about 21 yards. 1:49 to play in the first half, a 7-point lead for the Tigers, 21-14. Mount San Jacinto calls a timeout. You know, and they've had some recent success. The bowl game they played in 2021, Jeff, under Casey Mizata, their 2nd in a row. He's led his team to 3 bowl games, and he's got a great legacy. You know, his dad, Frank, for a long time head coach at Cerritos College, 253 career wins for Father Frank at Cerritos. Casey, the son, who's now the head coach at Mount San Jacinto, he played for his dad, then went on to BYU, played for a couple of BYU bowl teams. The 92 team lost 23-20 to Kansas in the Aloha Bowl, and in 1993 they played in the Holiday Bowl against Ohio State, lost that one 28-21, but a couple of pretty good teams under Lavelle Edwards. And we mentioned the explosive offense from last year, Jeff, averaging over 500 yards per game and nearly 48 points.
Those are like the old Lavelle Edwards days, throwing the football.
He just missed, I remember Kevin Federick from Los Alamitos was there. He just missed him. Actually, I think he might have played with Steve Sarkisian. I think that was Sarkisian's BYU team. Sark now obviously the head coach at Texas. So here's Marroquin attempting the field goal. Kick is good. Nice job there by the holder, Jared Campbell.
Yeah, almost lost
Low
it.
snap. He got the ball up and got it up to where Marroquin could drill it through the uprights. Nearly blocked. Nice attempt there to block it by Mount San Jacinto on the low snap. However, the kick is good. 24-14, RCC on top. Season opener for both RCC and Mount San Jacinto. Thanks for joining us. Ghazal Hassan with you along with Jeff Gorham on the campus of Ramona High School. You know this campus well, Jeff.
Oh, yes, I do. I'm telling you, I have many great stories about this stadium. I mean, I've seen some great games over my 51 years of life, and many of those were here at Ramona watching a lot of these games. But it's cool. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm kind of proud that RCC is playing at my alma mater. I think it's pretty sweet.
Marquin to kick it off. Talik Brown back deep, along with Matthew Caldera.
Yeah, I'm used to watching Coach Mashinsky and Frank Berber on the sidelines. Frank Berber in his chanclas, his flip-flops, I should say. And now we're seeing Tom Kraft. So on that end, they've improved their looks quite a bit because Coach Kraft is way cooler than Coach Mush or Frank Berber. I should say Frank Berber, the husband of Alicia Berber, who's the women's basketball coach at RCC.
Now, maybe you can point this out because we know when we do high school games here, the home team is on our side of the field, the press box side of the field. RCC is on the opposite side of the field, and there's a reason that I didn't realize that. You explained to me that the opposite side used to be the home side of the field.
It always, when I was growing up, that was the home side. So maybe somebody said, hey, let's keep it traditional.
1st and 10, ball at the 25. There's the throw, and good play. It's caught by Talik Brown, but the play by Loveland Don Willies, actually incomplete, did not come up with it. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Clock stops.
Let's see if he actually dropped the ball. I didn't see it. He got hit from behind, but, yep, obviously hit the floor.
Bottom of your screen is Hazard. Near slot is Valencia. Here comes the pressure. And down he goes at the 25-yard line. Short completion. Making the play defensively for RCC. Jesse Bradbury coming over, the freshman out of Summit High in Fontana. Played for Nick Matheny. Making the tackle, the reception to Talik Brown. Clock continues to move. McGee in the backfield. He's had some impressive plays today for Mount San Jacinto. And a big bear hug and taken down. The quarterback is Rayshawn Gilmore. Robert Coleman gets a big introduction to Gilmore, who makes the sack. Gilmore, the sophomore from Santa Clarita out of Golden Valley.
And the clock running. No more timeouts left, so let's see if they're going to sit on this. And
about a 20-second differential between the play clock and the game clock.
So they're going to try to get this in going into halftime. They're going to get the ball coming back out in the second half.
So Mount San Jacinto stops the clock to avoid the delay. At that point, why not just take the delay?
Yeah, might as well. It's just, 5 yards?
Yeah. So they'll execute the play with 19 seconds left here in the first half. The season opener for RCC, coming off their second straight state final appearance. Remember, they won the state championship, the national championship in 2019. And last year, it was a bit of a rough start, Jeff, but they won 7 in a row to get themselves into that state championship game against City College of San Francisco and nearly pulled it off 22-19.
Yeah, and it was just one of those, it was a weird season because, you didn't play the year before. You were the national champs. You didn't know, Coach Kraft didn't know who was coming back from his team. Were you going to wait around 2 years? You didn't know how long the pandemic was going to last. So it was surreal to see them lose early and then get so much better as the year went on. They were a completely different team than from game one to that state championship game.
Isaiah Jones from Paris back to receive for RCC. Kicking it away is Connor Melzer, the freshman from Etiwanda. Kick down at the 45-yard line. So let's see. So about 13 seconds to play. Maybe you can run off 2 plays here, Jeff?
With Coach Kraft, it could be 3 or 4, for gosh sakes.
So no timeouts for either team. So you'll need a first down to stop the clock, then reset the football, and then go.
Question is, are you content if you're Coach Kraft and just let this run out?
No, he's not.
No, he's not exactly.
I'm wondering, maybe you throw one in the middle of the field, get a first down, and bring the field goal team on, see if you can run that out. Trips to the top of the screen, they'll just run it out. Jacquez Jones takes the ball. Short gain, tackled by Kamaral Jarrett. Jarrett, a freshman from Moreno Valley, Rancho Verde as well. So the ball carrier lost his helmet. As a result, there's a runoff, and that's the end of the first half with RCC leading 24-14 over Mount San Jacinto. Give me some thoughts, Jeff Gorham.
Well, I thought Riverside executed very well at times, but a lot of dropped balls that were, very catchable, made balls. So I think Coach Kraft is going to say, hey, guys, we could be ahead by a lot more, but we just can't drop footballs. If you're San Jacinto, you've got to be happy with this. You're within striking distance. You got a whole second half here, and you're playing the state runner-up. They're going to go after it, and I think they've done okay so far in this first half.
All right, we'll go down to the field. Nick Rice has a interview for the half. Let's see who Nick's got. 24-14, RCC leads Mount San Jacinto. He's with Mount San Jacinto head coach Casey Mazzotta.
Mazzotta? All right, good thing we went through a rundown. Yeah. All right, we're joined by MSJC head coach Casey Mazzotta. What were your thoughts on the first half?
Well, my thoughts are Riverside's a great football team, and, you can't give them opportunities. You can't put them in a situation where we have a chance to get off the field, and we rough the kicker, and, we allowed some explosive plays to some really good players. They have great players that can create explosive plays, and, we got to limit those things. And, we had a couple fourth down opportunities to get off the field and didn't do it. And, those are things in the ball game that put you in the situation you're in. But, we need to just clean up a few things in the second half.
Well, RCC's got some incredible playmakers. Their quarterback is one of the best in the state, but you did manage to create a few takeaways. How do you continue that sort of success in the second half?
Well, we just got to continue doing what we need to do, what we're coached to do. It's, we work very hard on the details of the game, and, we know they have great players. We need to try to, eliminate the explosives, and those are the things. When you have explosive playmakers, you got to stop those things.
Well, Coach, good luck in the second half. MSJC staying alive, down by 10 at the break. Guys?
Casey Mazzotta, and, explosive plays for RCC definitely, but how about Jalen McGee? A couple of explosive plays for Mount San Jacinto as well, and he had a big 67-yard run. 24-14, though, RCC weathering the storm, Jeff. They took a couple of good punches from the Eagles, but they're on top by 10 here at halftime.
They did. They made adjustments at the right time, and they've taken away that outside coverage, and that's really what hurt Riverside. They were Mount San Jacinto was able to go over the top and go to the outside. They took that away in the second quarter, and that's been the ball game.
I'm Ghazal. He's Jeff. We have 30 minutes down and 30 to go here from Ramona High School. The Tigers of RCC in the season opener lead Mount San Jacinto by 10 points. We'll step out and bring you the second half momentarily on Riverside TV.
I'm Cheech Marin, and we're inviting you to reserve for the inaugural showing of Cheech Collects. So get your tickets today. We're looking for you.
Live local. Help support your favorite businesses with the Shop Riverside Community Card. With over 200 Riverside businesses giving exclusive discounts and offers to community card holders, there's something for everyone. Participating organizations sell these cards for only $15 each, with $10 going straight back to the organization itself, making the Shop Riverside Community Card a fantastic way to support your favorite local group. For more information about the Shop Riverside Community Card and to find participating businesses, please visit shopriversidenow.com. And don't forget to live local. Shop Riverside.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play could be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
Well, it all started basically with my son, Joshua Unger. He's severely autistic. He was aging out of the school district, and this was about when he was around 18, but the school district keeps you till you're 22. We're sitting at home one day and we're talking about, well, what are we going to do once he actually is out of the school district? And we thought about it really hard, and at that time we were doing some backyard gardening. And my son was very responsive to it. He enjoyed going out and planting the seeds and being in the soil and, harvesting the lettuce and going and, getting the carrots and the onions, and, he likes to cook too. And we thought, well, hey, what if we actually had some property to where we could have like a small farm that sells vegetables, and we can make a program where we can bring in others, a work program for people with these different disabilities. Ultimately, what we decided to do was just start looking in the Inland Empire area for a piece of property that would work for that. And, we found the Greenbelt. We try to implement as much organic material in the soil as possible. We're not using any pesticides or herbicides. We, have barn owl boxes. We have little birds' nests that we're planting so that they'll eat some of the bugs, and we also encourage predator bugs, like ladybugs. Our operation is at that point where we're turning a corner. With the high tunnels going up, we're going to be planting tomatoes in there. There's a lot of little things to maintain with tomatoes. We're kind of transitioning from a point where we were just focused on this small little corner of the property, kind of educating me. And then now that we have some systems in place that I feel are successful, we're going to expand that across the center part of the farm here, and we're going to be putting in a little farm stand that we can sell some of these vegetables with, and that will provide additional tasks for the workers with disabilities to fulfill. One of the ways that we reach out to people is on Facebook, and it's Gable Farms. Just Gable Farms, and you can search it in Riverside. And that's an easy way to find us.
My daughter had an issue at school where another student on her campus, specifically in her class, said some derogatory things about people of color, specifically black people. Although Riverside is a great place to live, it has shadows and it has corners where hate lives. As a result of that, my daughter was hurt that day, and we needed to put a voice to it. A friend of mine, she reached out to me and she said, Rochelle, I can't sit by and know that this happened to Edison and not do something.
We had a conversation about the racism that her daughter Edison had experienced at her school, and how that felt to her. We felt like we needed to do something and to say something. And so we talked about the representation of, black figures in Riverside and how there was a lack of representation. We talked about inclusion and respect and what that looked like. And we talked about creating an art piece.
It was after the murals that we had up on the Fox Performing Arts Center, as well as the John Lewis mural at the Civil Rights Institute. And so when this concept came to us at the City of Riverside, it felt a way that we could support our artist community, because we are the City of Arts and Innovation, but it was also in an easy, beautiful way, a statement that we promote, we respect, and we want diversity, equity, and inclusion in all things we do.
I myself am a mosaic artist, and so I talked to Rochelle about the possibility of us creating an art piece, and she loved that idea. And soon Shay Tracy, who is also an educator, so we are three teachers, we started out on this endeavor to create this piece together and enlisted 14 artists to create the piece that you see here today.
As at that time, there was so much happening in the culture, in the world, surrounding Black Lives Matter, and some of the protests in terms of the police brutality that was happening, that I just felt I needed to do something as a model to boys. Each individual person, they worked on their own sketch of the artist, and they put the tiles together at their own home studio. And then towards the end, we collected the materials in waves, and then we kind of just put it all together a few weeks before the reveal. I want them to feel the love and intentionality that we put into the mural. I want it to awaken a curiosity about all of the people who we included in the mural, and to just get people to understand and to have more interest in Black history and in these contributing members.
As the City of Arts and Innovation, this was a really beautiful step towards including art pieces that are public and that are representative of everyone.
For the community, I hope that it shows that in being authentic and real and transparent and sharing our stories, great things can come out of it.
Welcome to In the Vault, a program of the Museum of Riverside. Today I'm going to share a little bit about the museum's herbarium, which is a collection of plant specimens, and a herbarium can be either dry or wet specimens, but mostly dry specimens, and that's what we have quite a bit of. It began with the early curator of botanic collections, Edmund Yeager, who started collecting specimens in the Riverside and San Bernardino area in the 1920s. Many of these specimens that he collected eventually wound up in our collection. But the real turning point was in 1949 when Charles and Wilhelmina Clark donated their collection, the Clark Herbarium, along with an endowment for the care of the collection and for botanical programs. And we've pulled out today just a couple of specimens, just a few specimens from the Clark Herbarium that are examples of Nevins barberry, which is an endangered species in our area, and you actually can acquire cultivated specimens of this plant from nurseries, but in the few areas where it grows naturally, it's under threat and has been added to the endangered species list. Now, this is how dried herbarium specimens are stored and collected. A herbarium specimen is of little use to us unless it comes with its collection data. So all this information is here, collected on a certain date in a certain location by a certain collector. And then the specimens are dried under certain conditions so that they don't attract mold, mildew, or other forces that can disintegrate them. Because they're dried, of course, they're very fragile, and we have to keep them in short stacks in carefully controlled environmental conditions. And you might wonder why we would have more than one example of the same species. And there's a reason for that, several reasons actually. First of all, comparing different examples of the same species can give information to researchers. And comparing specimens that have been collected over time can give researchers information about changing environmental conditions. And in the context of much research that's done today, for instance, climate change, we can learn much about how and where specimens were collected and what has happened to their morphology over time. It's also useful to have different specimen examples for genetic research, which is done today. Again, it was something that was, at the time these things were collected, no one even conceived of the kind of genetic research that would be done today. And now we have some of these specimens, which, of course, because they're in essence insect food, we have to keep very close watch on them to make sure no infestations get into our storage vault here. These cabinets behind me are the cabinets where we store the herbarium specimens, and they have to be inspected often to make sure that we have no problems. To go back to the Clark Herbarium, that portion of the Museum of Riverside's herbarium comprises about 10,000 specimens. Additional collectors, other collectors, John C. Roos, for instance, actually this one was collected by John C. Roos, have added to the herbarium and make it a reference point with almost a century's trajectory that allows it to be a tremendous resource for researchers who are interested in Southern California, particularly the inland Southern California plant community. We have a new incoming lot of specimens coming into the herbarium soon. We do continue to actively collect, and again, for some of those scientific reasons that might not necessarily have been anticipated at the time that earlier examples of some of the species were collected. So for instance, a researcher has recently gone out to some of the areas in Central and Southern California that are fire damaged and collecting plant specimens that are coming back after those fires so that we can study the kind of plant communities that thrive in those post-fire environments. Again, we cannot possibly imagine what kind of research may be done in the future that would make these specimens of great use to a scientist. And I should add as well, as my background is the fine arts, that there's a resurgence of interest among artists in looking at these kinds of collections and just seeing the visual beauty of them and seeing how the visual impact of a specimen can be translated into an aesthetic experience and to help connect people with nature in a way that is very vital right now. So again, thank you for joining us for this segment of In the Vault, and we do encourage you, particularly if you're a researcher, to contact us and arrange to have access to the herbarium collection. Thank you. Welcome to In the Vault, a feature of the Museum of Riverside. Today we're going to be talking about something fun and games actually. The museum has quite a large collection of games dating back to the 19th century. A small selection of them will be featured in a new exhibition at Heritage House to open in early September of 2022. One of the games we're going to include is this one, which we discovered recently in our collection storage vault. We looked up its records, and the records weren't particularly illuminating as to what it was, and none of us recognized what it was. So while we did some research and pondered a bit, we still didn't turn up any information. But we were fortunate to have some good luck in the form of putting out some images and information about this piece to an international network of game collectors and game historians. Luckily, very quickly, we got an answer back from a collector in Germany who informed us that it's a whist counter, that's W-H-I-S-T, which is a card game related to bridge, which was played quite frequently in the 18th and 19th centuries. You may imagine gentlemen and gentlemen's clubs in London playing whist in the 19th century. It's often referred to in novels, for instance, by Anthony Trollope. But today, the game is not played so very often, and there are other games in the collection that we'll be including that, again, are not played so very often, but that's a pity because many of them are quite fun, and it's a great way to start conversation and spend some time with friends and family. Now, this piece, as a whist counter, I would imagine that each of these pieces is used by the card-playing team to keep track of their score in some way or to indicate. So, for instance, this little item here indicates whether your trump card is one or the other.
Welcome back. Ramona High School, first touchdown. Coleman to Dorsey. That's a 7-0 lead for Mount San Jacinto. Jake Retzlaff with a nice throw to his brother, setting up this touchdown. Retzlaff finds Pater to make it 7-7, 6:44 the first quarter. Check out this big return for Mount San Jacinto. Running it back to Leek Brown, their playmaker. Retzlaff lines it up down the field as well. Nice catch, tumbling catch there by Reggie Retzlaff. At the 3-yard line, looks like the game's going to switch, and it does because the interception comes up for Mount San Jacinto.
Karsten Mamaro picks off the ball, but the defensive RCC able to play around that turnover. Retzlaff again finds brother Reggie to set up a touchdown. J.J. Tucker here, touchdown for RCC. Watch Jalen McGee here. McGee flipping the field, 67-yard play before he's finally knocked down inside the 20-yard line. Couple plays later, though, Coleman finds McGee for the touchdown. Retzlaff again. This time he finds Tucker to make it 21-14. Last drive of the, what a play here by Norian Espadron, setting up the field goal to make it 24-14. That's where we stand here at the half. RCC will kick the ball to Mount San Jacinto. Talik Brown back deep, along with Matthew Caldera. Jacob Maraquin queuing it up. He had some big shoes to fill, Jeff, with Ricardo Chavez, and he's been pretty good today.
He has been fantastic so far. I mean, he's been perfect. As long as you're perfect, you are in my radar. And, you know, I love those kickers. I do miss my friend Chavez.
Maraquin booms it, bounces. It'll be able to be returned. In fact, he's going to let it go. It'll go out of bounds. So ball will come out to the 35 for Mount San Jacinto. First half numbers, Jeffrey, 339 passing yards, 383 total yards for Riverside, 161 offensive yards for Mount San Jacinto. 2 big turnovers for RCC, but they were able to play around them. They had the interception and a fumble. Third down efficiently, not good for either team. RCC a little better. They're at 28.6%, just 1 of 5 for Mount San Jacinto. That was one of their strengths last year, Jeff. They were 48% on third down. So big drive coming out here to start the second half for the Eagles.
And if you are San Jacinto, you want to try to get on the board quickly here and get this game close, because you know that the firepower of RCC, they can score in bunches.
So Tosha's to the top of the screen. In the far slot is Talik Brown. To the bottom of the screen is Roland Hazard. In the near slot, Emilio Valencia. 2-by-2 for Mount San Jacinto, and he's going to go down, meaning Coleman. Flag comes in at the back of the play. Loss right now to the 32. Let's see what they'll sort out in terms of the penalty.
They have a great defensive effort there. They just funneled him into the center of the field, took care of business quickly. Let's see what the call is. I think it's going to be against Mount San Jacinto.
So they'll mark the ball back to the 25-yard line, 10-yard penalty. So it's a holding call. So first down and 20. Ball needs to go to the 45-yard line of Mount San Jacinto for the first down. Coleman to throw, looking downfield. Incomplete. Hazard, the intended receiver, coming over, making the play, Quinn Sullivan.
And that was a rocket of a throw. I mean, you watch it. That was as hard ball as I've seen thrown all year.
Second and 20. Big drive here for Mount San Jacinto. So now they'll flip the receivers. Hazard to the top of the screen. Trips to the far side. Tosha's down on the bottom of your screen for Mount San Jacinto. They'll throw it to him. It's a completion near the original line of scrimmage. On the coverage for RCC was Levwin Don Willies.
Great field awareness there to make that catch.
Taylor Tosha's the sophomore from Rancho Christian. He was one of their top receivers last year. We mentioned his yards per catch were impressive. 17 receptions, averaging 23.8 yards a reception for the Eagles last year, who went 9-2. Only lost one game on the field, though. One of those losses, a forfeit loss because of COVID restrictions to RCC. 3rd and long from the 34-yard line. Here comes pressure. Coleman thrown to the near side. Likes the sideline. Incomplete. Toshish, the intended receiver.
Yeah, San Jacinto wanted a penalty. He had his arm on him the entire play. Let's see here on the replay. Watch this. Defensively, that arm is on him from the get-go. No call.
So 4th down.
Oh, they did call it. I'm sorry, I didn't know there was a flag. That was a late call.
So pass interference makes it a 1st down. So ball moves up to near midfield, the 49-yard line officially. 1st down for Mount San Jacinto. Here's the handoff, running outside, bopped down near midfield. Summers comes up and makes the play for Riverside City College. Matthew Caldera carrying the football, the freshman from Vista Murrieta.
Vista Murrieta, a storied program. Remember, they had great coach Cody Candale. He's a great guy. Now he's the track coach. They have the largest track team in the state of California, I've been told.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
You take like 4 or 5 school buses to every meet.
2nd and 10. Here's Caldera out of the backfield and cutting him down near midfield. Great open field tackle there. Keithan Gooden.
Saved about an extra 7 yards there if he wouldn't have made that tackle.
So here's Gooden, just lines it up and brings him down. Another big 3rd down coming up. The Tigers did a favor to the Eagles. Remember, they were able to convert on a penalty. First half, Jeff, it was just 1 for 5 on 3rd down for Mount San Jacinto. So trips to the near side. The man in the middle is Talik Brown. Play action. Now he has to step up under pressure, and down he goes. Rayshawn Gilmore in there. Had help from Kyle Jordan. Initial push by Nick Smith, the sophomore out of Corona Centennial, and 4th down.
A great defensive stop here from Riverside.
Gilmore and Salahuddin, such a great combination on the ends. Tom Kraft really hyped about both of them, feels they're a great combination, probably the best in the area. Here's the punt. It'll bounce just inside the 20. That's where it'll go out of bounds. So a 32-yard kick, no return, and RCC will start it up from just around the 20-yard line. That was a big drive for Mount San Jacinto, especially once they got to midfield. You wanted to get points out of that coming out of the half, but they weren't able to do so. The RCC defense steps up again.
Yeah, that was the best defensive stance we've seen from RCC all game. They can continue that and put some points on the board here. Like I said, a lot of drop balls in that first half, and that interception in the end zone. I mean, they could be up a lot more than what they are. Let's see if they can connect.
You look at the defense, though, really, the one big play from Jalen McGee, the 66-yard run that set up the touchdown. Aside from that, there's really not been much in the cupboard for the Eagles. Here's Retzlaff flinging it to the near side. Get your way, pushed out of bounds on the defense for Mount San Jacinto, Karsten Mamero. So 4 yards on the catch, 2nd down coming up. Riverside trying to take control of this one. They already lead it by 10. Retzlaff gives to Jones, dancing outside, little bit of a jitterbug move over the 30, 1st down to the 31. Jaquez Jones.
Yeah, Jaquez Jones had a good year at times last year for the Tigers. And
well, slowed by injuries last year was Jones, but this with that 7-yard pickup. Now 9 carries, 43 yards for Jones. And the sticks move up for RCC. Line is now the 31-yard line. Retzlaff complete to his brother right at the marker. Mommerl again with the tackle for Mount San Jacinto.
Pretty nice crowd here for the first game at a road game for RCC and a road game for Mount San Jacinto here at Ramona High School. Great crowd here, actually.
Retzlaff flinging it. It's complete.
And there's another one of those arm angles that you've seen from Retzlaff. I mean, he has thrown at every angle possible tonight.
Lacey with the catch. Tabond Young with the tackle for Mount San Jacinto. Reggie Retzlaff split out to the top of your screen. Trips to the near side. Elijah Uguri surges forward for about 8 yards. Tackled at about the 49-yard line. Tackle on the play made by Nathan Ortiz for Mount San Jacinto.
Yeah, and Riverside, I think we're here with a personal foul, which is going to cost them. Can't make goofy plays offensively and cost your team here. I think it's going to go against RCC here. Wow, so it goes against San Jacinto there. I thought it was going to go against RCC. By the way, the players were reacting to the flag initially here.
8th penalty on Mount San Jacinto, 80 yards they've been penalized. So, I think RCC's only committed 2 fouls, and that was something that Coach Mazzota told Nick Rice, hey, we got to clean some things up. So 8 penalties for 80 yards have been costly for the Eagles, and now this drive continues into Eagle territory.
I hope I haven't jinxed this, but I will say this. This is a cleaner first game than we've seen from the Tigers in a few years as far as the first game. They played pretty smart. And
from the 37, Retzlaff. Now he's going to turn it upfield. Pretty good runner last year. He'll dive down at about the 27. He'll be close to a first down.
And just as I say that, there's a flag that goes down. I think it's, let's see if they call it on Riverside.
Retzlaff ran for 380 yards last year on 90 carries, a 4.2 yards per carry average, and 9 touchdowns.
A little movement from Brother Retzlaff on the outside there.
So they'll move the ball back to the 43-yard line. First down at the 28, so first and 15. Pass knocked to the ground by Joseph Rapola, sophomore from Rancho Christian. Just batted it down.
Got his hand in the passing lane.
Always the coach, aren't you, Jeff? Retzlaff to throw. Over the middle, and they love the middle of that field. Complete down about the 31-yard line. Reggie Retzlaff makes the catch. Good coverage by Ortiz, but right in the window. Nice window throw there by Retzlaff.
Yeah, his brother caught this one. He missed 2 previous that were similar to that throw.
So from the 31, need to get down inside the 28-yard line. Clock moving as we near 9 minutes to play here in the third quarter. A 10-point lead for the Tigers. Retzlaff looking downfield. Touchdown! Alfred Jordan, the sophomore from Arizona, makes the catch, and Retzlaff adds to his ledger. 4th touchdown pass on the evening for Jake Retzlaff.
Boy, that was a big third down conversion. Said he needed to get 5. He got them all, my friend. See, I would have liked to have seen what Chavez could have done here at Ramona High School. I bet he could have kicked it on Magnolia.
There you go. PAT good from Jacob Marroquin.
He's my new favorite.
Another look at the drive here for the Tigers. Got a little bit of a help from a penalty on Mount San Jacinto, but again, they were able to capitalize on the mistakes. A couple of good completions by Retzlaff, and then the touchdown strike down the field to the sophomore Alfred Jordan. Elijah Ugorji there. Good catch there. Good window throw there and good catch by Jake Retzlaff. And here's the touchdown, just down the field between two defenders. 31-14. So Marroquin back out for the kickoff. Talik Brown just watches it sail over his head. It'll come out, and that's where Mount San Jacinto will start with the touchback.
So that's the kick right there. My new favorite guy right there. I'm going to have to get a tattoo on my other leg of Marroquin.
So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 25 for Mount San Jacinto, and they really need to figure out a way to get back into this one. It's kind of slipping away. Tom Kraft wearing the shorts.
What is 8,000 degrees out here? Because all he has to. I want him to pass out. That would be not good. You got to take care of Coach.
1st and 10. Tosches with the catch. Close to a first down. Tackle made by Todd Shaw, freshman out of Palm Desert.
There's an injury timeout here.
Looks like Arturo Orozco. A little slow to get up. He's down now. The linebacker out of San Dimas High. Saw him make a play earlier. Hopefully it's just a cramp. I know hydration is a big key with the heat today. Season opener for both Riverside City College and Mount San Jacinto. At least a regional rivalry. They haven't played a lot because, Tom Kraft explained it to me. Yeah, we're close regionally, but they play in the American Conference. We play in the National Conference. A little bit different agendas there, but they made that agreement to play last year, and they wanted to make up for the fact they weren't able to play. They had room in the schedule this year.
I would love to see Riverside play these local schools, like the San Jacinto, the San Bernardino Valley colleges. That brings people in, and it's a nice rivalry. College of the Desert would be a nice one.
And obviously great for us, because, we see all these guys, all the local guys.
A lot of familiar faces, that's for sure.
But, obviously Tom Kraft's agenda is to get his team ready to contend for a state championship. And so he's scheduling the best teams he can schedule. Look at the Mount San Jacinto sideline there. They trail right now, 31-14. Auspicious start. They got the first score of the game, Jeff.
Yeah, they start off like gangbusters, but that Riverside defense kind of adjusted and evolved into stopping the outside pass, and they've done a great job since that first drive.
Orozco kind of favoring one side as he walks off the field, but he is walking off under his own power. You like to see that.
Yeah, the first game of the year, you always worry about injuries, and like I said, the heat doesn't help. But like I said, been a pretty clean game considering all the obstacles outside of the field here.
So line is the 35. It's 1st and 10. Robert Coleman back out there. Here's the give to McGee. Pushing left side. Still driving. He's down about the 38-yard line.
Both teams jawing a little bit here.
trying to sneak through, and Rashawn Gilmore says, no, son. You're not going to sneak past me. Second down. Coleman down the field. He's got a man. Complete. Knocked out of bounds, and a flag comes in. A 27-yard pickup. They mark it to the 36. Let's see what the flag does here.
I'm not too sure if, was it a late hit? Was he inbounds? Or, I'd love to see the replay. I think the referee was just in a bad spot.
So a flag did come in. It is a first down. They flip the field. They move up to the 36-yard line. 27-yard completion. The catch made by Roland Hazard. Hazard, the Great Oak product. Another look. Let's see what happened. So here's the catch. There's the shove, and it shoves him into an official. That was Marcel Taylor on the coverage. Sanford, Florida, Seminole High School. So they're just going to add 15 yards, Jeffrey.
And you can't be happy if you are.
It's a good break for Mount San Jacinto, though.
Great break for San Jacinto. Bad lapse in judgment, though, by the Tigers. And that is, that's been really an Achilles heel for the past couple of years has been those costly penalties.
McGee, submarine down at the 16-yard line. So a couple yards on the play. Getting him down underneath, tripping him up was Damon Stewart, the freshman from Etiwanda. So from the 17-yard line, 2nd and 17. Tosches and Hazard go to the top of your screen. 2nd and 17, give to McGee running right. He bounces away from Navarro Smith and then finally goes down the second effort. So maybe a yard on the play after all that running.